Okay, so like these two experiences happened in 2014. And the reptilians, they're always putting people in my scenarios, like shooting at me and stuff. They do that a lot. And, okay, so like the first experience went down, let's see, I was sleeping in the front bedroom. And, the first experience was the well-looking helicopter experience, and then it was like a day later or 2 days later in the morning, you know, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I had the other experience, and it also had a helicopter in it, but it was a normal-looking helicopter. And they're always putting like weird-shaped airplanes, like really weird, odd-shaped airplanes in my scenarios, or helicopters, or other things. They even put weird creatures that like don't exist in this dimension in my scenarios, like animal type of creatures, or I don't know, it's really weird. Okay, so anyway, so the first experience went down like this. So I was, you know, laying in bed or whatever. They abducted me, so to speak. It was like an out-of-body experience, but virtual reality experience. And both of these experiences were 3D feeling. Totally like 3D feeling. They weren't lucid dreams. Oh, I've been having a lot of lucid dreams lately. I'll probably talk about some of those, but not try to go through the whole thing, because like when you're like in a mansion and you're just walking around for hours and hours and hours and hours, you know, kind of hard to talk about that for hours and hours and hours. But okay, so the first experience went down like this. So I was laying in bed in the front bedroom, and it happened about 6 a.m. in the morning. And so like the next thing I know, I'm like standing there outside in a weird neighborhood in the grass or whatever, and I see over to my left, and like I say, some of these experiences, you know, they can still give you like a virtual reality experience and you still not be out of body, so to speak. And then sometimes you really are out of body, but sometimes it's just, you know, they still can give you out of body experience without really being out of body, you know, which this was a virtual reality experience. And of course it felt no different than just standing there being in 3D. So of course I was out of body as well, but whether or not I really was out of body, probably not, you know, as far as my astral body or whatever, but felt 100% real, 3D real. Okay, so like, so I was standing there in a weird neighborhood, a strange neighborhood, just standing there in the grass, and over to my left, I looked up, and the helicopter was really, really low, and then it kind of started like coming down, kind of like tilting and moving around. It was kind of like moving around and tilting and stuff, and it looked like a freaking well. It was shaped like a well. It was like dark navy blue, but it was really odd shape, you know, like almost shaped like a well. But it didn't have any propellers on the top. So it was just a funny looking helicopter. And like I said, they put funny airplanes, funny odd shaped airplanes in my scenarios, like small little airplanes in my scenarios as well. So yeah, so it started coming down. Oh, now what did that have to do with the 2 or 3 guys that came after me, you know, from their car, you know, into my car? I don't know what that has to do with anything. But anyway, so, like I said, this was a complete virtual reality experience. And like I say, it first started when I looked over to my left. And I looked up, and the helicopter was really, really low. It started, you know, low in the sky, and it started coming down. It was shaped really weird, like a well, and it was dark blue, like navy blue. And it was just like this, like it didn't have any propellers or anything on top. And it just, you know, was like kind of moving and tilting. And it just started coming down low, you know, to the ground. And then the next thing I know, I'm like sitting in my car way over to the right on a strange, you know, street in a strange neighborhood, and I'm just sitting there. And I guess you could say facing north, and I was in the driver's seat, and I was just sitting there, and the car was parked. And then, like, it was either 2 guys or 3 guys. 2 humans or 3 humans were, like, running at me from, like, their car or whatever. And it's kind of like they just kind of, like, it's kind of like they already, like, shot through the back of the windshield, the back of the car. But it was kind of like, as far as I remember, they kind of, like, came through the back of the window, and then I noticed, you know, it was like all shattered. So it seemed like it kind of happened ass backwards or something. So it's kind of like they came right through the glass, and then I noticed, you know, then they started shooting at the glass, and then it started to shatter or whatever. But anyway, they kind of like came through the back of my windshield, just came right through the car, and then they had guns, and then they were shooting, and then I saw the glass shattered. And I was sitting there thinking, and it seemed like one of them had a red t-shirt on, but it was either 2 guys or 3 guys. I know there was at least 2. And they looked about, I don't know, like 30 or whatever. And they had a gun, and, you know, when they were shooting at the glass, like right through the windshield, I remember thinking, like, how the heck did they not, you know, hit me or whatever with a bullet, you know? But anyway, that was like complete virtual reality. And, but they didn't like injure me or anything under the experience. And so that was the first experience. And then it was like 2 days later, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I also was sleeping in the front bedroom. And so the second experience went down like this, and it was a complete virtual reality experience too. And you know, out-of-body experience as well. It's because I was laying there in bed, so, you know, I was still out of body, even though, you know, like sometimes you know you're out of body because they literally come to your bed or whatever, or they can still do it in their own dimension. They just like suck you out of body and you feel yourself going out of body. But some of these virtual reality experience, it's just boom. It just, you know, they just put you in this virtual reality 3D feeling scenario. And you know, you don't actually feel them take you out of body. You don't, you know, feel your astral body going out of body or anything like that. So anyway, they have the ability to do anything and everything. So the second experience went down like this. Okay, so this was all virtual reality. I was sitting, okay, it was me, my mom. It's like I was still living at home, and I was I was sitting there like on the couch in the family room of my parents' house. It was like I was still living there at home. And I was sitting around on the couch in the family room, and my mom was walking around, and it seemed like my brother and sister could have been there as well, but they were in like another room. And but there was this guy there, and he looked about late 40s or something, and he had, it's like, okay, he was familiar to me too, but now I can't even really think, you know, how he was familiar to me. But when I was in this experience, he was familiar to me. And he had dark hair, and he looked about late 40s or whatever. And it was kind of like, in the scenario though, it was kind of like he was my mom's friend, but yet, and he kind of liked me and was like hitting on me or whatever. But yeah, so that's why he was like visiting us. And my mom, you know, it was like my mom's friend, and my mom somehow knew that he kind of liked me or whatever, and was hitting on me or whatever. And he was sitting around, you know, on the couch as well. And like I say, now I can't even think of who he really was, but under this experience, he was totally familiar to me. And, okay, so anyway, so then as we, you know, talk and sit there for like hours and hours and hours, it seems, I get up from the couch and I go walking, and this was all totally virtual reality. You know, the family room, you know, was exactly how it is in real life. Except the couch was in a different position. And once upon a time, we did have it like that many years ago. But yeah, so It was completely virtual reality. And so I got, for whatever reason, I can't remember if I heard the helicopter noise. But anyway, for whatever reason, I got up from the couch and I walked up to the windows of the family room. And there's like one window to the left, and then straight ahead there's 2 windows. And I walked up and I went up to the 2 windows and I looked out the window. And there was this helicopter, and it looked like a normal helicopter coming at me. And it had like at least 2 men in it, maybe 3. And it was humans. There was 2 human men in it. You know, maybe 3. It could have been 1 in the back or whatever. But there was at least 2. And it was just a normal helicopter. And it started like almost like just coming at me. Almost like, you know, right through the living room windows. And, okay. And I was just like, wow, what the hell? Why is that helicopter like coming at me like that? You know, when I was under the experience, I was just like, wow, why is this helicopter? And as far as I remember, I heard it and everything, and I think that's why I got up, because I heard the noise, as far as I remember. Yeah, that's what the deal was. I heard the noise. So that's why I got up from the couch and I went walking to the windows. Okay, then the next thing I know, I'm turned the opposite direction. So that direction, when the helicopter was coming at me, I was facing west. So then, after I was observing the helicopter coming at me, like almost like right through the damn windows, you know, that low or whatever, and the windows are in real life, and you know, even in the scenario, it was exact replica of the family room in real life in the scenario. The windows are just, you know, 4 feet above the ground, you know, 4 feet off the ground. And, but you know, the aliens, they're able to do all this cool virtual reality stuff. So then, next thing I know, no, this part was like, I don't know if it really was like a true abduction, so to speak. I mean, I know they probably distracted me with this scenario and they were tampering with me at my bedside. That's probably what they were doing. I mean, I know they didn't really physically abduct me, but this next part seemed totally real and everything, but I'm still not saying that it was a real abduction or whatever. I mean, I guess it still could have been a real astral abduction, and they could have, I don't know, was messing with me on my bedside, took my astral body out, but yet they were distracting me with the scenario where I was standing there in my mom's family room at her house. You know, so I don't know, but okay, so after I started observing the helicopter coming at me, and I was just like, wow, you know, why is it coming at me like that? And then next thing I know, I was standing opposite direction east. I was just standing there east. And the helicopter had somehow just came right through the window, so to speak, and was just hovering above me like 5 or 6 feet above me, the helicopter. You know, was hovering above me 5 or 6 feet. It's just like it just came right, like ethereally, came right through the window, the 2 windows, and then it was just hovering above me. And I was standing there east, like a complete 360 or whatever, or 180, whatever that is. And then the next thing I know, this part felt totally real. I mean, the whole experience was totally virtual reality, but this part, and it felt real. The whole experience felt, you know, 3D real. But here's the part where it was also real and 3D feeling real, but this is where some technology was used or something, or at least they made me think technology was used or whatever. So then I started being sucked up off of the family room floor, and I started being sucked up. And I started being sucked up. You know, I went about let's see, about 2 or 3 feet off the ground, or off the, you know, family room floor. They were using some kind of technology and like sucking me up, forcing me up, you know what I'm saying? Sucking me up. And of course, they could probably do this even when you're just in 3D as well, but 9 times out of 10 they do it when you're more in an altered state of consciousness. But you don't have to be, you know, that far in an altered state of consciousness. And they've done this type of thing before. But so anyway, so I felt all this, you know, like, I mean, it felt physical, you know, this physical technology of being sucked up. You know what I'm saying? The whole experience was virtual reality. But this part was like, you know, where you could actually feel something on your body and everything. So the helicopter was like sucking me up, sucking me up, sucking me up. And I was fighting it though. And that's not the first time I was fighting it. I was fighting the technology. And I was trying to force myself down and down and down and down. But they were able to suck me up, you know, force me up from, you know, with their ethereal technology or whatever. They were able to suck my physical body up, so to speak, about, you know, 2 to 3 feet. And I was just like, you know, because I kept being pulled up and up and up and up and up. And I was just trying to fight it. And, so that part was really weird. And so I don't know if it was really real, if that part was real. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm confused. I think it was all just virtual reality. You know what I'm saying? But they could have been distracted me with that scenario, and then they could have tampered with me at my bedside, because they've done that before. But like I say, that part, I mean, like, the whole experience was real. It totally felt real. But the physical part was when they were using technology, and I was being forced off, you know, the family. I was being forced up. Like, they were trying to force me into, like, they were trying to abduct me and force me into their helicopter. And like I say, they were only able to force me off the family room carpet for about, you know, because there's carpet in there. You know, about, I mean, I was forcing up, you know, I was like raising up 2 or 3 feet. And that was about the most they could do. And I just kept fighting it and fighting it. And then that's all I remember after that. So like I say, I don't know if it really was like a real abduction, so to speak, or if it was just all virtual reality. Okay, but that's not the first time I felt that technology. You know, that other experience to the church. To the church where the reptilians came to my bedroom, and they literally used that technology to suck me up off my bed. That was a freaking blast. That felt very similar. And they were doing all this virtual reality stuff to me. Or he was, I mean, it was Joel, I believe, that gave me that experience. And maybe a couple other reptilians that were working with him. But, that abduction to the church, it started off where he, you know, came to my bedroom, and he or whatever used some kind of technology to suck me up, and I was being like forced up off my bed. But it felt totally physical. It felt totally physical, and I was fighting it. I was fighting it, because that's just your natural, you know, instinct to do that. So I was trying to fight it, and he was doing this virtual reality stuff on me, and he placed a physical drawer, I mean a dresser, over to the right of my bed, and it was like wobbling back and forth, like moving back and forth and stuff. You know, because as his technology was sucking me up out of bed physically, except he really wasn't sucking me up out of bed physically. He was sucking my astral body out. But at the beginning, he was making me think he was sucking me up out of the bed, you know, physically. But he was sucking my astral body out. But he did the virtual reality thing where it felt totally physical. And, I mean, the chances of them, like right here now in 3D, coming and using that technology, sucking you up off the couch, it's slim to none. Because that's not how they operate. You know, they wait till you break the sleep cycle or whatever, and then that split second before you fall asleep, or they wait until you're just that, you know, slightly groggy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, they still could do it if they really wanted to, but that's normally just, you know, not how they operate. But a lot of these people talking about their experiences and stuff, you know, they're making you believe that they're just walking around in 3D and then boom, you know, they're abducted. But they're leaving lots of parts out, like they really weren't abducted like that. Most likely they were probably knocked to the ground, put in an altered state of consciousness, then they were abducted. But I mean, they could do anything and everything though if they really wanted to. But normally, you know, they probably do abide by certain rules too, because like Anthony, you know, he came in physical form, you know, at the bookstore and stuff, But the chance of him just popping up in my house like that, all physically and shit, all up in my face, they probably wouldn't do something like that because they know that, I mean, that would be very scary, you know? You know, they just, that's how they operate. They like to wait till you're in an altered state of consciousness. Or just right before you fall asleep, that split second before you fall asleep. Because it's kind of like, that's where their dimension is, you know? That's how they could get to you easier, you know? But yeah, I mean, normally, you know, like even if you're just walking around 3D, and what would happen is they would just knock your ass to the ground and throw you in an altered state of consciousness and then abduct you. You know, you're just not going to be walking around like, and then boom, be physically abducted by their ethereal technology or whatever. But, like I say, they probably can do it like that. I mean, they could do anything and everything. So anyway, that was my 2 weird experiences back in 2014. And, but yeah, that one abduction to the church, that was in 2015, I believe, in January of no, that was February of 2015. That abduction where I entitled it to the church, that was a freaking blast. Total blast. And, so once he got me out of body, after he used his ethereal technology and made me think he was physically abducting me when he was really just astrally abducting me, he was holding me up by the feet, by my toes, by my feet basically, at the foot of the bed, and just holding me up like a mouse. I mean, that's what I felt like I was like a little bitty mouse, and he was holding me up by the tail, except he was holding me up upside down by the feet. And I was like, it tickles, because I'm ticklish, and, you know, in real life like that, if somebody touches your feet, you know, I'm ticklish. So even out of body, you know, I was still ticklish. And when I said that, when I was like, it tickles, he stopped it instantly. He stopped the tickling. And then after that, he threw me through to the astral realm, so to speak, and I was astral traveling, and I was like, whoa, this is a fucking blast. And I was looking at my hands, and they looked all ethereal. Sometimes, you know, you could still be physical, though, so to speak, and then sometimes you literally are energetic when you go out of body, and then other times you're like freaking physical when you go out of body. But anyway, yeah, I can put that video in the comments, but it was a blast. That went to the church. And then, I'm pretty sure it was Joel that gave me that, because he's always like, get me off. Like, he's always giving me these fun experiences, and then he does sexual things at the end and gets me off. But yeah, he's a very fun being to be with. But the beings that gave me this experience, these 2 experiences, I don't believe it was Joel. I think it was some other kind of reptilian being, but not Joel. That's why I didn't put him in the, put his picture, his face or whatever, what he kind of looks like. He won't ever show me what he looks like 100%, but I know he kind of looks like this dude, or this alien. Right there. But he won't ever show himself 100% clearly, but Joel kind of looks like that. And yeah, he's a fun being. Oh yeah, and he actually just gave me an experience this morning, an awesome long lucid dream, but I'd have to leave a lot of parts out. But it was lucid dreaming. And but anyway, that was a fun experience to the church or whatever. And like I said, I believe Joel gave me that one. But these 2, some other kind of beings gave me these 2 experiences. And like I say, sometimes they come in spurts. So you may not get an experience, or at least a good experience, in 2 to 3 months. And then, you know, he'll decide to give me like 3 out-of-body experiences in like a week or something, you know. Okay, well, thanks for listening.